Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we turn to talking about Trump's latest play in the whole immigration, border security debate that's going on in this country. If you hadn't heard, there's been a tough battle going on between the Democrats and Republicans over this issue. Trump and the cons want to tighten up America's security and stop more illegals from coming in our country and committing more crimes when they get here. Liberals, on the other hand, want quite the opposite of that. They want to let in as many illegal immigrants as possible in order to co-opt them, get their votes, and use their ignorance and cheap labor for their own advantages. In fact, Democrats have taken this laissez-faire approach to immigration so far, liberal-run places like parts of California, New York, and New Jersey, they've taken to calling themselves sanctuary cities, meaning they're sanctuaries for illegals in places where they won't arrest, prosecute, or deport them or anything like that. And these so-called sanctuary cities are a key component in President Trump's latest play on immigration. You see, there's been loads and loads of new illegals coming in lately, and with the Border Patrol and government struggling with what to do with all of them, Trump came up with a pretty creative and interesting idea. Why not send the illegals to the sanctuary cities? Liberal shitholes like Los Angeles or San Francisco, they are the cities with the lefties who are claiming to have open arms for all these criminals. And now, well, Trump is testing them out on that. He hasn't exactly made the move yet or anything, but considering it may just be enough to make the point. And this is admittedly an extreme and probably over-the-top suggestion, sure, but it is a way to test the left on it and see if they will put their money where their mouth is on this issue. I have a feeling, though, that liberals just want the virtue points for their sanctuary cities, and they may not like all the hassle and losing money and the danger that comes along with that kind of ridiculous idea. And if you think about it, a ridiculous idea like a sanctuary city, a place that basically says it won't follow the law and will let criminals roam free, well, that's the kind of thing that needs to be challenged by another wild idea, like what Trump is proposing to do with sending the illegals there. For more information on this Trump announcement and to look at some liberal reactions to it, let's take a look at a video from the Today Show called "Trump Confirms Plan Was Proposed to Bus Migrants to Sanctuary Cities." Check this out.
President Donald Trump planning to open a new immigration front, this time miles from the border.
I call them the illegals. They came across the border illegally. We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and let that particular area take care of it.
Frustrated at the border, the president is looking inland, taking aim at cities and politicians that oppose his plan to build a wall and lower illegal immigration.
Yeah, well, he's not really taking aim at them too hard. These cities decided to claim sanctuary status. They made this bet. Trump is just the one making them lie in it. And if you think about it another way, sanctuary cities are really encouraging more illegal immigration and more crime and strife at the border and throughout the country. Think about it. Once people realize there are these kinds of safe havens in our country, that's going to make them more likely to try and sneak into here illegally. They know once they reach cities like this, they will be free and clear for the most part. So really, these sanctuary cities are encouraging more illegal immigration and crime. Imagine if there weren't any sanctuary cities for a minute. Then people crossing the border illegally wouldn't have a safe destination they could reach once they get here. And knowing the nation you're entering will follow its own laws and it will chase down and deport illegals, well, just having that locked down will start to discourage a lot of illegal immigration right away, very easily.
We are looking at the possibility, strongly looking at, to be honest with you.
His proposal? Bus migrants detained at the border into sanctuary cities, largely Democratic enclaves like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's home district.
It's just another notion that is unworthy of the presidency of the United States and disrespectful of the challenges that we face.
Wow, sounds like Pelosi doesn't like this idea. She clearly appears to not want a bunch of illegals to come into her city of San Francisco. Can't blame her for it either. Her home district is already struggling with crime, drugs, and literal poop in the streets there. And all of these problems have gotten worse under Pelosi's tenure as a politician. Just saying. So maybe instead of blaming other people, Nancy Pelosi needs to fix her own problems, which she caused first, herself. She needs to fix her own shit. San Francisco is a place that wanted to be a sanctuary city after all, and if they don't want that anymore, then stop it and make an announcement that you will start enforcing the laws as you should. But in the meantime, don't blame Trump for simply calling your bluff here. And Pelosi even dares to say this is unpresidential? Please. Trump is the most effective, respectable, and deserving president and leader this world has seen in ages. If anyone's not worthy, it's Pelosi and her city of San Francisco. Frankly, San Francisco doesn't deserve to call itself an American city, especially if it won't enforce our laws and go along with what Americans want.
And they want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply. And let's see if they're so happy.
His plan to punish Democrats, first reported in the Washington Post, coming just hours after White House and Department of Homeland Security officials said it had been rejected back in February because the plan was, in the words of one former official, so illegal.
Well, there's a reason why this guy is a former official, and there's also a reason why he's not named or cited here directly. It's because he's wrong, and this quote is pretty irrelevant. The Today Show is clearly trying to put an anti-Trump spin on all of this. They're making Trump's suggestion appear illegal and politically motivated, when really, it's not really like that at all. First of all, I'm not 100% sure on the legality of all this, but I do know the president and the executive branch have plenty of power and avenues and ways they could pull this off. And if Trump really did go through with it, I'm sure that would only happen after the president okayed it with all his lawyers and advisors and everything. Next, let's talk about the political motivations here, because they're definitely not what the liberals would have you believe. Trump is doing this for political reasons, though, just not like the ones they claim. This isn't being done in a petty attempt to attack the Democrats. No, it's being done because Trump is still trying his best to get the border wall built and to secure our border. That's why he's calling the sanctuary cities out here. And I wouldn't call this a threat like how they would imply either. No, to me, this is more like Trump is calling their bluff. And I really don't think Trump wants to go through with this in the end either. He might, but really, I think he's trying to show that these Democrats holding up the border wall and its building, well, they really don't care about the illegals like they claim. If they did, they wouldn't be upset by his suggestion here. No, if liberals really had the bleeding hearts that they claim, they would take in all these illegals with their often referenced open arms. The fact of the matter is, though, that's not really why the liberals are against all this at all. Really, they oppose the border wall and immigration reform because if that was all achieved, that would be a big giant win for President Trump. A president they hate so much, they are willing to endanger citizens because of their Trump derangement syndrome. So yeah, in actuality, it's really the Democrats who are being petty and politically motivated here, despite them projecting and saying that's the kind of behavior Trump and the conservatives have shown.
The president's threat coming after months of frustration over the influx of migrants and with his Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, who resigned on Sunday. But before naming Kevin McAleenan as his acting secretary, Trump reportedly told him to shut down the border. And he dangled a presidential pardon for McAleenan if he faced any legal consequences, according to the New York Times.
Well, I don't think shutting down the border is out of the question, unlike what the Today Show implies here. They make that seem crazy, but if there really is such a big issue there, why not stop the flow completely for a while, until we can figure things out and fix them? Democrats seem to think this problem will just fix itself or something. Or maybe, like I said before, they really don't want to fix the border crisis at all. Any kind of wall or immigration reform would help and be a success at this point, giving Trump a big win publicly. So the liberals are opting to stick their heads in the sand and pretend this problem doesn't exist. That way they can continue to try and stop Trump from fixing it. That's really what the end goal is for the left here. Minimize the problem and pretend it doesn't exist. That way Trump won't get his wall and his win, which of course, looking forward, a win for Trump would certainly help him win re-election next year in 2020. So yeah, it's all politics for the left, while the right, us conservatives, we're just trying to make America great again.
That order to seal the border, an indication of just how serious Trump was last week when he promised to do just that.
Thank you. We'll close the border. Somebody said it will take a year. No, it won't take a year. It'll take a day.
And guys, late last night, the president disputed that he offered McAleenan any sort of pardon, taking to Twitter saying, another fake story on NBC News that I offered pardons. Of course, this is not true.
Yeah, I don't know. Should we trust the president who has yet to let us down, or should we take the words of the liberal-controlled mainstream media who has been lying about him for years? What do you guys think? I know who I'm going with, and it's certainly not this weird, bug-eyed, alien-looking dude on the news right here, right now. If Trump says he didn't offer pardons, then he didn't, and we could put this claim on the long list of things the media lied about in order to try and slam and slander our president.
Now, meanwhile, some of the mayors in these sanctuary cities have been taking to Twitter themselves, saying that immigrants are still welcomed in their cities, but they're noting that they don't have the authority to make them stay because cities in America, they've got open borders. Chanel?
Good point, Hans. Thank you.
Is that really a good point, though? Sure, cities in America don't all have physical borders, but they do have the authority to make people stay. Kind of, in a way. If you think about it, cities and their police departments, they put criminals and parolees on house arrest all the time. And sure, there's probably not enough money and resources to put ankle monitors with GPS to track everyone, not with all these illegals, but the cities could make it a rule or law that the illegals seeking sanctuary there, they need to sign up and agree to stay within the city limits. This may seem a bit much, much, but so is the idea of letting illegals come and stay in your city. So them having to codify and regulate that makes sense when you're in that same realm.
The president, as we have witnessed, has broken a lot of norms over the course of his presidency, but appears with this sanctuary city idea that he may also be pushing the boundaries of the law. I guess the question is this real, or is this just another effort to appeal to his base?
I think it's a great question, and the answer is both. The president has gotten a ton of mileage out of threats and bluster without following through, and his base certainly likes this rhetoric.
I knew they would move to calling this a threat and inciting violence or something. Classic liberal go-tos at this point. But like I said before, Trump wasn't threatening. He was calling their bluff. And also, it's funny how this news show and the guest, they seem to be very worried about the rules and law when it comes to Trump and his actions. But they completely ignore all of that when it comes to sanctuary cities. They are openly proclaiming they won't enforce the laws, which, in a way, is them breaking the laws themselves. But I guess that's a-okay with this Today Show, because breaking the law is okay when you're a liberal, at least according to the left.
Let me ask you about the Mueller report as Washington braces for that report in the next few days. Obviously, Attorney General William Barr this week raising the stakes further, saying he believes spying occurred at the beginning of the campaign. Can you put this into context for us? This was supposed to be obviously independent process, but now it obviously seems political. And are we ever going to get any closer to closure on this?
Not if the Democrats keep denying reality because they have Trump derangement syndrome. The only way to really get closure on the Mueller investigation is for the Democrats to admit they were wrong and acknowledge there was no collusion, because there wasn't. But we all know the left will never give in and let this go. That's why they're still talking about it like there's still something new coming, even though Mueller already announced there would be no new indictments weeks ago. And no indictments means they've got no proof of any crimes. It's over, Democrats. Come on. It's really time for you all to move on.
I think the context is that it is deeply politicized at this point. You're going to see the Republicans in the White House, no matter what we see in that full report, saying that we told you for 22 months this is a witch hunt and they found no collusion. And you're going to see Democrats at the same time going through those 300, 400 pages, picking out the unflattering details for the president, and there should be plenty.
Unflattering details are not criminal, lady. So as much as you and other left-wingers dig through that report, nothing you're going to find is going to be illegal or actually damning to the president. And as for this investigation becoming politicized, well, the Today Show and this lady make it seem like that's a new development. It's not. The entire Mueller investigation was politicized right from the beginning. This was an orchestrated attack coming from liberals who were going after a president they don't like. It was never independent or truth-seeking or justice-influenced at all. This was a witch hunt, plain and simple. And now that it's over, many liberals are choosing to double down and hold on to hope, like what we're seeing here today. In the end, I'm not totally sure why this Today Show video pivoted to the Mueller investigation here, when the video and the topic of the day is Trump considering the idea of shipping illegals to sanctuary cities. That doesn't seem very related to this fake Russia collusion bullshit, but I guess the liberals at the Today Show thought they could bring it up and make Trump look more criminal or something. He had a politically motivated investigation led against him, which turned up no crimes or evidence. Wow. And the Today Show really thinks this helps their side? Well, I'm here to say, hey, thank you guys, because you're just making our side look better and better with all your craziness. What do you guys think? Should Trump send the illegals to sanctuary cities? Will the Democrats take them in with open arms? Or are their claims of being charitable just fake and for show? Because really, in my opinion, they just want to stop Trump from getting a win by building the border wall and securing our country. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.